Jesse Marsch, is about a week and a half ago. He's been out of a job for a little bit, unemployed after being signed from Leeds United. But he has his suitors, it sounds like. So we're going to talk about him, see where he should go, where we think he should go, what would suit him best, what would suit the suitors best, blah blah blah. Before we get into it, my name is Elijah. I'm here with Diego. We are for the badge football. We have a podcast episode coming out probably next Monday or so, hopefully. So if you want to watch that, please consider subscribing, turn notifications on. Should be a fun one. I have some stuff planned for us to talk about, so should be good. So yeah, like I said, Jesse Marsch been unemployed for a little bit now, but already a week after rumors of him going to fellow relegation rival Southampton in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Since then, it seems though talks have broken down. I don't know how reliable that is. It is the Guardian as well. I don't know how trustworthy Guardian is these days, but yeah, wait and see. But Southampton seem to be the prime suitor for him right now. And let's talk about what we think. Go ahead, Diego, if you have any thoughts to stand out there.
I don't know. Like I was reading this article the other day, and I was kind of like, I had a very positive impression of Jesse Marsch, but I'm starting to believe and not no. Okay, he's a very talented manager. Do not get me wrong, but I'm also starting to believe that I was slightly biased because of his American nationality.
Yeah.
He has his flaws, of course. There's a reason
Yeah.
Leeds were not doing great. And they don't have the best team. I think they definitely could use some improvement, but
Arguably one of the worst defensive lines in the league, personally.
yeah,
But
defensively definitely weak.
yeah,
But I don't know. I feel like Jesse Marsch is an extremely talented manager, and maybe it just wasn't the right spot. Maybe it wasn't the right team. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. There's a lot of reasons why, but I don't think it should mean he. I think he should go to another team and try to get that success. Because I remember there was a time when the Leeds fans, maybe like 4 or 5 months ago, they were happy with him. He was
Yeah.
they were I felt like they were singing his praises. I don't know. Maybe I read the room wrong, but I felt like they were.
Yeah, I mean, he kept them up last year, which is
Yeah.
great in its own. I do think he's a little unfortunate the first half of the season because like I said, I think he's a great manager. He could do bits at the right team, and he managed Leeds pretty well. It's just they couldn't score for the longest time. They dealt a lot of injuries, and no one would finish their chances. I consider it very akin to Frank Lampard and Timo Werner. When Frank Lampard was at the club, Timo Werner was arguably one of I don't say the biggest flop in Premier League history, but he should have scored way more than he did. And Frank Lampard inevitably gets sacked, and then even after, Timo Werner was like, I think if I scored as much as I should have or could have, Frank Lampard would still be in his position. So I think it's kind of like that. I think he did get unfortunately, a little shafted. They really haven't picked up the slack since the World Cup, and unfortunately, it all gets boiled down to the manager in any of these situations, right? Because if you're able to be like the NBA and trade a player whenever you need to until the trade deadline, then I feel like it wouldn't be as much. But yeah, Jesse Marsch is taking the hit for it. I'm a little iffy about Southampton personally, about any relegation rival. I think it's a great move, but I also think it's a bad move. And I think I'm gonna say bad first because I think that's more fun to talk about. Bad. I think Jesse Marsch has unfortunately. There's one word that you can coincide with his name, and that's relegation. It's last year he saved Leeds from relegation, and now he was in a relegation battle. He could get the team relegated. If he goes to Southampton, that doesn't change. If he goes to Southampton, he more than likely gets them relegated. Or not, but I mean, he might not. But the rest of the season, it's relegation battle versus relegation rivals. So every time you mention Jesse Marsch, relegation is almost inevitably in the same sentence.
Here's the thing as well. I think there are three reasons why these managers go to relegation teams. They're desperate. These teams are desperate, and they know that. Let's be honest, Jesse Marsch isn't a bad manager by any means, and they know he has potential and that he can do well with the right squad. We saw that at RB Salzburg. So I definitely think he has that level to be very good. Secondly, it's a high risk, high reward situation. Yes, we
Yeah.
could get relegated, and it doesn't look great. But to be honest, at the same time, it's also like people are like, oh, you're going to get relegated. Maybe they don't blame you as much. And on the other hand, you keep them up. All of a sudden, you're a miracle worker, and you're now your stock rises up. People start admiring you more. Your more teams get
Yeah.
interested. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you put a better run and you go mid table. Like that's even then people are like, oh shit, look at these guys, look at this guy.
Yeah.
So uh, I think I don't know. I feel like Jesse Marsch is at that point where Southampton's desperate. He would
Hmm.
like to continue coaching the Prem. Who doesn't?
Yeah.
And uh, if you do it, you all of a sudden you start looking pretty good to other people. You start looking pretty
Yeah.
good.
I think like I don't know. I really don't have like a set opinion on if this would be a good move or not. I don't know. So let's say it does get relegated. I don't think it'd be a bad thing. I think I think honestly, personally, relegation is the best case scenario for me for Jesse Marsch at Southampton.
Why is that?
Gets relegated. Hopefully Southampton don't sack him because if they're hiring him expecting him to keep him up, they're hiring him for the wrong reasons. Personally, um, I think he goes down to the championship. Easily going to be the best team in the league. Just team talent wise. You're probably going to lose some key members, but still, I think the talent is very much there. He has his way with championships clubs, brings them back up, and then all of a sudden it's okay. Here we go, Jesse Marsch back in the Premier League. Let's see what we can do with a cleaner slate. You know,
Mm.
if
Mhm.
if he's here, I don't think it'd be bad. If they stay up, but I think it's just a little more pressure to not put them back in that position again.
Yeah.
Right, a championship team
Yeah.
coming up, there's not much pressure to keep them up. I mean, there kind of is, but it's just like okay, if they go back down, then they go back down because that's how it works a lot of times. Um, but I think if he stays up, then it's like I said, relegation is the word that would be associated with him mostly. It's just going to be he got relegated. He's trying to keep him from relegation, trying not to get relegated. He got relegated, just things like that. So I think it's a good move. I think Southampton wise, I think it's a really good move because I know he does have a lot of similarities to the former manager Ralph Hasenhuttl.
Hassan,
Hasenhut?
yeah.
Hasenhuttl? Oh yeah. So he does have very similar characteristics in terms of
Yeah, I
managing
would
styles,
agree.
right? So like, which is a very good thing because Nathan Jones, that was manager, right? Southampton manager.
Yeah, Nathan
Nathan Jones was
Jones.
only there for 3 months, meaning
Yeah.
that he didn't like change the club's culture. Um, Meaning the players still have a lot of knowledge about Ralph's tactics, about his system. And if Jesse Marsh can come in and take advantage of that with his own system, that's really good. That looks really good because they won't have to wait a month to get the system going, and then especially by now be a little too late. It'd be mid March, and there's only so much they can do there. Um, so I think it's fantastic. I think Southampton, I don't want to say need, but kind of, I guess they do kind of need that. I don't want to say poster boy, but guy to lead the charge. Jesse Marsh could
Hmm.
be that guy. He's a great management manager. Um, Very good with that. Very encouraging, enthusiastic with his players. He loves young. He likes giving young players a chance, especially young Americans, but young players in general. I mean, you look at his Leeds team. There's a lot of young players starting every game. Primarily the Americans, Brendan Aronson, Tyler Adams, and most recently Weston McKennie. Um, and I think they kind of need that. Southampton, if they do go down, then they got to rely a little more on youth, which they have, and he can do that. Bring them back up, develop his players a little more, blah blah blah. So I think it would be a really good pickup for Southampton. Personally, I yeah. I mean, there's no reason for me to say it's bad for Southampton. But I will say the reason that the talks are broken down is I think he wants a longer term contract and Southampton want a shorter term, or it's the other way around. I forget. So yeah, yeah. I don't know. If you have any more thoughts on
Interesting.
Southampton and Jesse Marsh?
Not particularly, but I would love him to continue just getting some experiences in the higher leagues, so that when the USMNT need the
Yeah,
manager, they got him. I just want him to get experiences, People forget managers are learning at the same time the players are learning, just in
Mm,
different ways. And every game a manager loses, he learns something.
mm-hmm,
Every game a manager wins, he learns something. And
mm-hmm.
especially Jesse Marsch, who is really relatively new to the top level, if we're being honest.
Yeah,
Um, he had his outstanding experience at Salzburg, where he not only in the Austrian league but in the Champions League, he was doing very very well.
yeah,
So again, very young manager, very talented. Um, Needs more experiences to really kind of craft his or to hone his craft, if you will. And so I just hope he gets that. If not Southampton, then somewhere else, just the
yeah,
right fit. And he's ready for the USMNT because that's the dream. That's the dream right there. He's the coach for
yeah,
the 2026 World Cup.
yeah. I mean, I think another top point for Southampton why this would be a good pickup is because um, you look at Leeds, and Leeds is arguably the biggest Premier League team in America for new fans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Immediately, new American fans were like, "Okay, look at this team, three American players on it, and an American manager. I want to support that. Hell yeah!"
Yeah,
Unfortunately, he had to leave. A lot of people were calling Leeds, Leeds United States of America, things like that, right? This is kind of if Southampton were to pick him up, this would kind of be a little PR stunt too, because Southampton, I don't know how much revenue they bring in, but it's not that much. It can't be that much because they're very stagnant where they are. There's not
yeah,
much money that they're putting into, player signings and all that. But if they can bring Jesse Marsch in, he also brings young Americans in, and they can just unlock that section of the American fan base. That's a lot of money for them. That's great exposure,
most
great
definitely.
money,
Yeah.
great opportunities, and boom. So I think that's another reason why they should sign him. But I will use your talk about the USMNT to a little segue. Um, there's also been rumors, of course, that he could be going to the men's national team of the USA since he's out of a job. And this is a little awkward spot in the season for someone to be looking for a managerial job, just because a lot of teams want to you know utilize their manager until the end of the season at least, and then maybe sack him or keep him, whatever. Um, Me personally, I don't think this is the right choice for him. I don't think right now. I'm a
I
little iffy
agree.
on the 2026 World Cup, if I'm being honest.
Oh, are you?
Um,
You don't
I
think
am.
3 years is enough time?
I don't because, well, I think okay. So for Jesse Marsch personally, right now, I think it's bad because he becomes the USA manager. And I don't want to say he would like immediately get forgotten,
Mm-hmm.
but USA for anyone is kind of a hard team to win with. There's still a point of huge transition between the old and the new. New players setting a bigger stake right now, but they're not participating in the Euros, not participating in the Copa. Well, they are going to participate in Copa America, but they haven't historically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he comes here, doesn't do much with the USMNT. Maybe wins the Gold Cup, maybe gets to the round of 16 of the World Cup. Let's say, but and then he's young. If he wants to switch to European football, there's not much for them to base it off of except his history with Leeds United 4 3 2 3 4 years ago. So I don't think it's good for him in that asset. I think he should build his manager's mindset in Europe at a top club or in a top league. And like you said, he learns with every game, and then he brings it um, to the USMNT. That being said, I also am a personal fan of one manager every cycle. So I think whoever gets brought in right now has to stay into the World Cup at least. I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you can bring someone in now, fire him in 2 years in 2025, and then Jesse Marsch has a year to implement what he wants the USMNT to do. And I say a year because they do what, two friendlies every 2-3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, following through with the whole needs to stay up there. Then I don't think either of them is a good idea. I don't think he should come right now. And if he stays, I don't think he should come right before the next World Cup. Maybe 2030. I could see him waiting till after this World Cup and then 2030 comes. But yeah, I don't know. Give me your
I
thoughts.
you know what, I think I definitely agree with you 100% that right now is not the call. 100% not the call right now. I think it would be dumb, and I think he would just be, like you said, forgotten. Maybe with a year or two stint with them, and then it'll be done. Um, but I hadn't thought of your 2026 is too soon for him, and I like where your head's at. I think that's a fair assessment. Um, I think I don't know. I really can't argue much. I think I agree with you. You know, I hadn't thought of it
Yeah,
this way. Like, I guess the way you mentioned it was, just to paraphrase, you basically was, you said if you take him in a year before the World Cup, that's a year to prepare. International terms wise, that's not a lot of time. Uh,
exactly.
um, and even if, and second of all, like, this is assuming the manager they're currently with isn't as doing as well as maybe they would like or whatever. Because obviously, if he's doing well, there's no reason even to switch him out. But I'm assuming maybe he's
Yeah,
getting mediocre, like results or whatever, right? You're just like, oh, we could be doing better, and so you naturally you're like, oh, Jesse Marsch is available. Maybe he is at the time. Maybe in
yeah,
2025 he is. You go after him. It just seems so. It would be. You're right. It would be so sudden. And look, I'm not gonna lie. Have there been obviously miracles that have come up from hiring a manager like not too far from a tournament and them doing like absolute bits? Absolutely.
hmm
That being
Look at
said,
Argentina. Like Argentina just
yeah,
won the
yeah,
World Cup, and they
exactly,
kind of did that.
exactly,
So
yeah. I mean, Lino Scaloni is a very, very good manager.
yeah,
But I mean, like, it still takes time and it takes good players. And I don't know. Maybe Marsh is more for 2030. Maybe that's the call. As much as I
yeah,
would love to have him be at 2026 because we'll be playing at
yeah,
home. I think maybe 2030 might be the safer call, and maybe get someone who's still very very accomplished. Maybe not American like we all hope that he would be, but very
yeah.
accomplished. Very. I don't think we should go in for Gareth Southgate. Not that I have anything too much against Gareth Southgate, but
hmm
I don't think that's a
He
good
is the right
call.
call.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Or what's the Belgian manager name? Roberto Martinez. Where's he at
Roberto
now?
Martinez. He's at
Where'd he
Portugal. He
go?
went to Portugal.
He went to Portugal. That's such a Portugal. What are
Yeah,
you doing? You just have such a
yeah,
good young squad. Why? Okay. I forgot
yeah,
I talked about that. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't think there's really much to add, but other than Jesse Marsh, I think he needs to wait. I think Jesse Marsh needs to. This is the best opportunity that we've seen for an American manager in a long time, in a very long time,
Mm-hmm.
and it'd be huge if there's a manager out there who sets his stake as one of the best in the world, as one of the top teams in the world, as if a legacy kind of manager, and then afterwards
Yeah.
manages the USA team, that would be
That would
crazy.
be phenomenal. Yeah.
I mean, the best manager we've ever produced is still Bob Bradley. Like he needs to at least beat that. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's too hard. But
No,
I
it's
think he
not.
should make his claim for that in Europe and then
Yeah.
move over.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. Well, that's pretty much all we got for this video. Um, as you've seen throughout the video, if you have any opinions about this topic, please leave it in the comments. We really appreciate that. We'll respond to them. Might even react to them in a video. Who knows?
Yeah.
Subscribe if you want more kind of USA, Jesse Marsh, Premier League, anything football, any more topics being covered by us. Please subscribe. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Like the video if you did indeed enjoy it. And we hope to see you next week for our, I think, episode 19 of our podcast series.
Episode 19.
Episode 19. So hopefully we'll see you guys next time. And peace.